Well, look what we have here. We have number 10 of A Bug's Life, High Hopes. And it looks like they're having some high hopes. And I have AVAH on my nails in pinks because this little girl loves pink. So this is the perfect book for Ava. And Dot seems to be having a good time too. It was early fall, and in the ravine next to the ant island, the last bunch of wildflowers was blooming. Ooh, those wildflowers look very nice. Dot stood among the flowers one breezy afternoon, enjoying the sunshine. She looked up at Gypsy, who was flying from blossom to blossom. That must be Gypsy. Dot loved watching Gypsy the moth fly. Dot herself hoped to fly one day when her wings grew in, but she knew that was months away. In the meantime, it seemed Dot had to settle for just watching. Or did she? I wonder what she's thinking. As Dot sat there, a bright green moth fluttered by in the breeze. When it landed, Dot saw that it wasn't a moth at all. It was a leaf that had fallen from a tree. She looked up and saw more leaves falling. In an instant, she had an idea. Well, here's what she thought was a moth. You can clearly see it's a leaf. And I wonder what her idea is. But she definitely looks like she has an idea in mind. Excitedly, Dot made her way to the base of the tree. She climbed up the trunk and along the limb, stepping out onto one of the leaves. There she stood, eagerly waiting for the leaf to fall. Instead, another leaf fell, and another. Dot scrambled from leaf to leaf, trying to guess which would fall next. Somehow, she never picked the right one. So they just kept falling around her, but she didn't get to go for a ride. Oh, she's going for a ride now. Finally exhausted, Dot lay down to rest on one of the leaves. As she slept, the breeze turned into a strong wind, rocking the leaf and waking her up. "Yikes!" cried Dot. She held on, frightened, as the leaf swayed harder and harder. Suddenly, the leaf broke off and went sailing through the air. That's exactly what she's doing. She is sailing through the air, and she doesn't look very happy about it. Dot was no longer frightened. "Wow," she cried, "I'm really flying!" Swooping down over Ant Island, she called to her friends, but they couldn't hear her. Then, on the edge of the island, she saw Flick. He was trying to invent a machine to collect dewdrops. "Hey, Flick," shouted Dot, "look up here, I'm flying." Flick looked at her and waved. "Hello." Uh-oh. Just then, another gust of wind caught the leaf, carrying Dot away. Worried, she called down, "Help me, Flick!" "Hang on," he shouted back. "I'll follow you." Flick got out his leaf telescope, and watched where the leaf took Dot. Then he quickly set out after her. See, it's always nice to have friends who will come get you. Dot, meanwhile, had landed in a spider web. It was the web built by her new friend Rosie, who had arrived with the other circus bugs. Dot tried to wiggle free, but she realized she was stuck in the web. "I guess I'll just have to wait for Flick," she decided. "He'll be able to help." The sunlight faded. Soon, a long-legged creature came out of the grass and began climbing toward her. Dot couldn't tell what it was. "Flick, help!" she called out. "I'm right here," said the creature. It was Flick! His long legs were twigs that he was holding with his hands and feet. That way he could climb the web without getting stuck himself. He is so smart. He comes up with some of the strangest but the best ideas. Flick helped Dot out of the web, and she thanked him for rescuing her. "Oh, it wasn't hard, really," he said. "I just thought about the problem and tried to solve it using whatever was handy." So he's a very smart thinker, and Dot is very grateful. As they headed home, Dot told Flick about her adventure. "Did you ever fly?" she asked him. "Sometimes I float on dandelion puffs," Flick told her. "The funny thing is, I always end up landing in strange places," Flick continued. I'm never quite sure where the wind will take me. Maybe one day I'll invent the perfect flying machine." Dot smiled up at Flick. Then she hurried home. She's running to Flick. For the next few days, Flick didn't see her. When Dot finally appeared, she ran up to him saying, "Hey, Flick, come with me quick. I want to show you something." So she was running to him. I wonder what she wants to show him. Dot led him up a tall tree to a knothole. In the knothole rested a leaf, weighted down by pebbles. Flick studied the leaf. "Well, that's awfully nice, Dot," he said, "but, what exactly is it?" See the leaf? It has 1, 2, 3, 4 pebbles on the leaf. So now she's making an invention. "Come on, I'll show you," Dot said excitedly. Then she pushed away the pebbles. Free of extra weight, the leaf rustled in the breeze and lifted off with Dot and Flick on it. "Yay, they're flying!" Flick was thrilled, but he was also nervous. Gee, this is swell," he said, "but aren't you afraid we'll blow too far away?" Dot grinned. "Nope, just wait and see," she told him. "I am noticing something. It's tied to the end of the leaf, and she has it all the way to the tree that they came out of. So I don't think they're going to go very far." The wind swirled, carrying them higher and higher. At last, when they reached the treetops, Dot looked down to the ground and gave a signal. There was a bump, and the leaf stopped rising. "See," said Dot, "I told you not to worry." Flick looked at her with admiration. I see the string is still tied to the end of her leaf, and it's still on the tree, but I wonder who's got the end of it. "How did you do that?" Flick asked. "Simple," Dot said proudly. "This isn't just any old leaf. It's my first invention." Dot showed him a long silvery thread that was attached to the leaf and reached all the way to the ground. "Rosie made it for me," she told him. "Oh, so this is spider web string. It's very strong. And it wasn't going to the tree. It was going all the way to the ground." Flick looked over the edge. Sure enough, on the ground far below were Rosie and Dim. Dot explained, "Now I can fly like Gypsy, but I know that I won't blow too far away and get lost." Flick beamed. Dot's first invention was one that even he would be proud of. There's the spider. And there's Dim. So she's the one that pulled, well, he helped her. They pulled the string together whenever Dot said to stop. And there they are in their leaf that won't blow too far away because of Dot's very good invention. Kind of like flying a kite. There's the person holding the string, and there's the string, and there's the piece in the sky that won't go too far as long as you're holding it. Flick asked Dot, "Do you think I can be an inventor like you when I grow up?" Flick smiled. "I think you already are an inventor." "Wow!" exclaimed Dot. They're still on their leaf, up in the sky, just a-floating and having a good time. Then Dot gave a signal, and once again they began to move. Rising high above the treetops, the two friends gazed off across the countryside. Far below was tiny Ant Island, where so many more adventures lay in store for them. They are pretty high up there, but they're safe because they know they can get down. The wind won't take them wherever it wants to. Dear Blueberry Journal, today Rosie told me about spiderweb. I never knew there were so many kinds. Different spiders make different kinds of webs. Some webs are in the shape of a wheel. Other webs are like tunnels. Others look like sheets, pieces of pie, or hammocks. There are even spider webs that are decorated with zigzags around the edges. Rosie pulls the silky threads from her body to weave her web. The threads are very tiny, very thin, but if they are twisted together, they can be much stronger. I'm glad they're strong because I need them to keep me flying, my flying leaf from blowing away. Till next time. Dot. Ooh. The whole back of this is a pretty pink color. Very nice. All right, another adventure. And I wonder who has gone on a leaf up in the sky. I have not. That's not something I want to do. But I have flown a kite. It was very similar to flying a kite. So, if you haven't flown on a leaf, at least fly a kite.